I'm Ox Kennedy, and this is my co-host Chris Coffee.eth, and we're back with another show. And we do have a very special guest today, Chris. We have the co-founder of Chibi Lab joining us. But before that, this show is brought to you by Ninja Alerts. Ninja Alerts is a web and phone app. You get a notification to your phone whenever your friend, influencer, or favorite whale mints, buys, or sells an NFC. Make sure to visit ninjaalerts.com/giveaway, though. Hold up, let me post it up real quick. It's gonna show up right in a second, right below me. Make sure to visit that for a 6 month subscription. It's we do a draw every month, so you get a 6 month subscription. That's a $400 value right there. Just all you have to do is be a subscriber of our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter. Easy, Chris, man. How you doing? It's our Thursday. Hold up. I
Yes,
didn't give an
man.
air horn. I didn't give an air horn. It's our Thursday, man. The week is coming to a close, man. How you feel?
I feel good, bro. I know a lot of it came from Art Gobblers, but like the volume on not just on OpenSea, but I don't know if you saw Blur. Blur's volume was double OpenSea yesterday at like 18 million when I checked.
Oh
And then and
yeah.
then then OpenSea's was around 8 million when I checked USD, of course. So
Eight
like
million.
yeah, opposed to like the average. This isn't on 24-hour segments. It's like on like by the time it's like 8 p.m. my time, the average is like
Mm-hmm.
5.3 million. So like almost 4 million over the average. And then Blur just like 10x the average compared to last week. So the market's looking healthy, whether it's short term or mid. I don't know, but I don't know. I'll definitely be looking for some plays every weekend. Looking for some plays next week. I know we all mentioned that thing yesterday. It didn't ever do much, but we tried, and I think that's a big part of this is trying to do some live trades, seeing what takes off, seeing what doesn't. And we'll have some take off in the future.
Man. Well, yeah. He did say he's gonna come. Mitch did say he's gonna come back on the show, and we could do it again. Hopefully, we pick a winner. I knew something was up, man. When we met it yesterday, I knew it was going straight to zero, man. It didn't take off. It didn't go anywhere. It sold out though,
You
but
saw,
it
I
never
don't know if you
moved.
saw Griff tweeted about it. Pretty funny tweet actually. I'll bring it up while you're talking about it. But it's so true, man. Like things that like obviously this is different because like there's trust. There was a lot behind Truth Collective, whatever they're called, behind Goblin Town. But I did think that this was a funny tweet from Griff that I'll share right here.
Oh
Talking
man.
about the free mints back then versus free mints now, like how one went to 9 ETH, the other one went to zero, and he specifically used that as an example.
Oh man, they look cool though, but they look like everything else. It's that Azuki type feel.
Yeah, Zuki anime meta.
Mm.
Cool, man.
All right. Well, we do have Chibi Gang in the house right now. Do you want to bring up the co-founder of
Yeah.
Chibi Labs?
Yeah, let's
All
bring
right,
them on up, bro.
let's bring him up. Welcome, Sposta, co-founder of Chibi Labs. Hold up, round of applause for you, man. Welcome.
What's happening? How we doing?
We're good, man. We're good. We had you on a couple months ago. You and Age Bizzle. So it's been a while. So tell us what's up, man. How's it
Yeah,
going?
a couple months is like a couple years in NFT
Yes,
land.
it feels like it.
Everything's good. It's funny hearing you guys talk about the market, talking about some of the recent events. I mean, there's still some of that hopium in the air. We see
Yep.
volume pickup of like art gobblers, and everyone's like, "Oh, the market's back," and then all of a sudden, like OpenSea volume falls off a cliff again. And it's just like it's an interesting time. It feels like we're kind of at the end of really euphoric cycle. It's been a fun ride, and I think the market is going to be way more selective going forward. So
Hmm.
exciting to see projects bringing real value, bringing real partnerships, and trying to change the game. I mean, innovation is the name of the game. Something that we've been doing at Chibi Labs for a long time, and to have staying power in the space, it's like you need to continue staying ahead of the curve. And that's what we're trying to do. We've been around shit now like over a year and a half, so
Mm-hmm.
we're still going strong. Our community's still strong. You see a bunch of our collectors showing up in the comments section over here too. So I love seeing our community show out. I love being part of this. It's like, whereas the bear kicks in and people are turning negative on my feed, like chibis are always positive. We have a really good culture within our community. So feels good to be here.
Cool, man. You mentioned
Oh.
that the market is going to be selective. So, like, as a project founder, how do you find yourself being the one that's going to be selected in during this market?
Yeah, I think, look, I've been an operator a long time, come from Web 2, crossed over to Web 3. Back in 2017, I built my first blockchain business. I actually sold that to a public company, so I've been around a long time. But, my mindset has always been in building an NFT project, you have to build a long-term viable business. So for us, I think that some of the things that we've been really focused on are, building real technology, building IP, and forming really strong partnerships. If you're forming strong partnerships, I think you could rely on your partners as well as your community to continue to allow for scale for the future, creating real value, tangible product, things like that to continue to engage your collector base on a daily basis. So that's where we're at right now.
We ask a couple of founders this. What is your idea for sustainability as far as like supporting the project goes with marketplaces kind of moving towards the 0% royalties, and with you being a successful business in Web 2 and Web 3, I imagine that you have backup plans for um, funds. What's your idea for those, or what advice would you give to projects having to not just rely on royalties but still be sustainable?
Yeah, I've been really vocal about this recently, but I think capital preservation in this market is everything. Having runway to really figure things out. I mean, we've been experimenting in all different areas over the last year and a half. We've made a lot of investment and growth initiatives. Obviously, we've seen the market turn and change on us. As a result, we've been able to take like anecdotal evidence from some of the different initiatives that we ran and understand like where we should be investing our time and money. And I think most importantly is investing in your team to continue maintaining your community and your business on a weekly basis, and reinvesting in the community. I mean, your community is your best ambassador, so it's truly important to provide value to those individuals. And whereas we do a ton of giveaways and we do some fun things like poker tournaments and other partnerships, like that stuff has been great to engage our community. But I think one of the things that we've become known for is education and empowerment, and we've done a really good job of helping our community kind of really navigate the market. Right, we do weekly town halls. I give a market update on those town halls. I've been extremely bearish for the last several months, and not so much to say like run out of the industry and hide, but don't have anything invested or don't have exposure that you feel uncomfortable potentially losing. Don't overextend yourself. Maintain dry powder in case there's a opportunity, as there have been, to kind of jump back in teaching strategies like dollar cost averaging and things like that. I think are really important, but really setting expectations for people, as this is a highly speculative asset. NFTs are like a call option to crypto, and if, crypto being seen as a risk asset is something that has been underperforming the overall market. It's like, just temper expectations, because the global macro scene right now looks really ugly. And if global macro is not doing well and companies that are, profitable and generating free cash flow aren't performing well in these markets, just imagine how a risk asset of a asset is going to perform.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I don't mean to dominate. I just want
No,
to
go
like
ahead.
one comment towards that is it's funny because this morning I was just thinking like obviously I'm bullish on the space like long term, but like there's always the thought like what if all this just is irrelevant? And I was like, well, I don't know. It came across my mind like I guess I'll have to go back to option trading because it is high risk. But it's funny that you just compared the two. But what's up, Ken?
Yeah, I was gonna say, in a time like this in this market when everybody, all the marketplaces are going towards zero royalties, how can a project raise funds? Like if they can't depend highly on the royalties to keep the lights on.
Yeah, royalties in high frequency trading NFT market were a real nice to have. I don't think anyone believed those to be sustainable. And again, I think projects should rely on the capital that was raised from some of their initial mints and some of the royalties that they had gained over time. But if projects are in need of strategic alternatives on the capital side, they should be seeking out potential investors, potential strategic partners. We've been fortunate in that sense. We've aligned ourselves with some big corporate brands who have allowed us to create revenue streams for our businesses. We're in touch right now and having active conversations with potential strategic partners at the parent company level. So all of these things, just based on my experience, and not to say that I have that much more experience than anyone else, but I've been here before. I've raised a ton of capital in my career. I've operated businesses, so I see the warning signs, and we've been preparing ourselves for this months ago. I mean, I lived through this in 17, 18 when I built my first company, which was a blockchain company. We raised significant capital early in 2018 when the market was hot, and the market turned on us, and we had to pivot our business model. We had to enter into capital preservation mode. So I'm seeing very similar signs from what I saw back then. And really what it comes down to is stay the course, continue building. You may have to continue adapting and evolving along the way. And just like you said, just before, it's like what we have been investing in, the NFTs that we've been buying, may actually all go to zero. But I think the technology and some of the things that we're going to be pulling out of this experience are really going to kind of change the way that we view commerce, community development, consumer development, all other things in the future. So even if this all goes to zero, I think the impact this is going to have long term across several industries is going to be highly impactful. And it's going to just be interesting to see how and when it all kind of plays out.
Yeah, there's too many big players on board for it not to be almost forced into society now. I mean, even last night we saw the launch of Instagram's marketplace, Starbucks Odyssey programs, going forward with being built on Polygon.
Polygon.
There's just too many big players now, I think, to say that it's going to be irrelevant in a couple of years. Like too many Fortune 500 companies have spent too much money in the space to just turn back and be like, we're not going to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the technology, I think we all know the technology is here to stay, but I just, everything that we're talking about right now, what Instagram just came out and announced, what Meta is building, what Starbucks is building. I mean, you look at all those things and you think about, as good as that is for adoption in the space, how does that ultimately impact, JPEG NFTs that we're
Mm-hmm.
buying, right?
Yeah.
So I think you really have to take a step back and look at the existing projects and say, okay, um, what value does this NFT bring you? Will that company or that entity be able to kind of justify the valuation of those assets in the future? And you really have to make a decision for yourself. I think one of the things that we talk about, we're a 3D project. I think we're one of the first or OG 3D projects in the space, and one of the things that we've always really focused on was providing the actual assets, the 3D files to our community, and as a result, empowering our community to really take those assets and do some fun things with them. So whether you're a novice or you're a savvy animator, you'll see all over our feed our community members taking their 3D assets, creating fun animations and videos and things like that, and that's been great. When if you go to a 3D studio and you actually had to get an artist to build a fully rigged 3D character for you, I mean, those will cost, at a minimum, a couple $100 just to create those assets. So when I always think about the Chibi floor, I think about you're buying a 3D asset and owning that IP for that 3D asset in itself. I think you could justify at least a couple $100 floor in terms of, pricing for our assets.
No, that's completely fair and understandable. So would you be bearish on spending a couple thousand on like other deeds and like metaverse land because the value proposition probably isn't there at its base, or at least the promise?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, we're going through that right now. In September of last year, we minted out our first generative collection, Chibi Apes. We went and we bought a 4x4 estate in Decentraland and built this epic scene. And we've hosted some amazing parties. Some of our parties have had thousands of people. We had Aloe Black perform at our New Year's party with like 20
Really?
other projects. Yeah, it
It's
was
really
really
cool.
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, he was promoting one of his projects and he created a video for us, and it was awesome. And at that point, Decentraland was like happening, right? I think Decentraland has dropped the ball. We've tried engaging them several times to say, hey, support us as we're supporting you in building adoption, through your metaverse. And it's just been disappointing watching that platform devolve. I mean, but I think they have money and they have runway, so it's up to them to figure out over time. But we have that estate in Decentraland right now. It's an asset on our books, and we have to think about whether it makes sense to maintain that asset, especially now we're moving on towards building the Chibiverse, which is our own metaverse, with our partners Beyond, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So as a founder and as a business owner, you have to really think about how a lot of this stuff impacts the future and even the current, right? If we were to move away from that Decentraland plot, how would our community react? Just knowing that our community believes that we're going to be building them these intimate, highly curated plots of land coming up in the future. So it's definitely something that we discuss and something that we talk about all the time. Me personally, you mentioned other side deeds. I own a bunch of other side deeds. I minted them, went through those crazy gas wars. I have one left out of the four I owned.
Oh wow.
I ended up minting a coda that I sold at like 25 ETH,
Hey,
which I was
nice.
happy to
Hold on.
sell. But like,
Hold on. We do air horns for those around here, man. Good job.
Yeah, man.
uh,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I sold it when ETH got low, got like below 1,000 because I panicked. But at the same time, it's like, look, I haven't had much success. I've been minting for a year and a half. I haven't minted many rares. I've done very well in my NFT investing and collecting career. But it's you look at other side, for instance, and it's like we know Yuga has money. We know they have team. We know they're building teams. A lot of teams have fallen down on their communications. Yuga, people have been highly critical of Yuga and Doodles and a bunch of other projects, and that's one thing that I look at. It's like the easiest thing to do is talk to your community. How
Yeah.
could you fall? How could like if projects and businesses don't realize that the success of their ecosystem is through their community and collectors, and they're dropping the ball on something so easy as communications, it's like, what are we even doing here? And the problem, I look across the market right now, and all I see is negativity on my timeline. It's just like, a lot of this would I think we'd see resolution across a lot of these areas where there are pain points if there was just better communication amongst projects, amongst project founders. And that's something that I've always been front and center about. I always wanted to be accountable to my collectors. I always wanted to be very vocal, and we have a really good relationship with our community, and that's been something that I really pride ourselves on.
Um, well, specifically, how do you guys tackle that communication issue? Because I know the Gutter Cat gang are going through that
There's
exact
another
issue
one.
right now. They're all flaming. The community is pretty mad that there's no communication between the founders, and they just started to try to rectify that. But well, how do you guys tackle this? Do you guys do spaces? Do you do Discord voice chats, or how's
Yeah,
it done?
I want to address gutter because I've been in the gutter since the week of mint. I didn't mint because everyone knows there was an
Gang,
issue with
gang.
mint. Gang gang. I actually don't own any cats. I owned seven at one point. I was in the whatever they call that when you own five cats in the
Kingpin.
kingpin. Yeah, I was a kingpin for a long time. Um, you look at that community, and the strength of that community has always been the collectors and the community themselves. I think the community was so strong, and when things are good, people didn't talk about this much, but there has never been great communication coming from the leadership team, and the leadership team has not really been involved for a long time. But I think what's interesting is you're seeing in the market right now when things are bad and projects start getting exposed, people will start identifying issues with the project that they didn't realize have been there the entire way. And I know Gutter Dan, and I know some of those other guys, and they just haven't always been the vocal leaders. And I think that's an opportunity for projects to come out and really fix things. And I know those guys have been coming on spaces and stuff. I know Gutter Wang has always been really vocal, which has been good. But for us, we've held we just moved to bi-weekly town halls, but we held weekly town halls from last September all the way till a few weeks ago. We did 54 of them straight, 54 weeks in a row. Every single
Mm.
Tuesday night, the founders show up. I don't think I ever missed one town hall. Community shows up, and we just have give updates on the project. You hear from all of the team members, and it's just very transparent. I'm always in the Discord. We have a Chibi Raiders chat on Twitter where we're just constantly talking to each other. I mean, my relationship with most of my community is really great. I have intimate relationships with almost all of our collectors, and especially our OG collectors. So it's always just that two-way communication and mutual respect for your community, because again, like I said, you're nothing without your community. And I think the projects who have missed that, missed that memo are really missing the mark, because, they're going to realize when they start going out and, whatever it may be. I mean, Gutter's trying to release the Clones 2 and they're Clones 3, and they're going to sell, and the community's not there. They're going to have issues. So you obviously need support from your community, and there needs to be that communication long term.
I see you guys, maybe these are the town halls, but I see you guys on Twitter Spaces, what feels like often, but I don't know. I just so happen to catch the town halls. Are those held on Discord or are Twitter
No,
Spaces?
our town halls are our Twitter Spaces. So
okay, got you.
we have Tuesdays Twitter Spaces, and then we also have a Chibi Spaces team that's hosted by 3 of our great community members, also team members. We were doing those twice a week. Now we're just doing those once a week. We've always been really front and center about collaborations and collaborative efforts with other projects. So we're always hosting other founders, other projects, doing cross community events and stuff. I mean, you look at the space continues to shrink right now. I think as projects, we're stronger in numbers, right? If you can't align with other projects, then the space isn't going to survive. So that's something that we've been really strong on.
We do have your partner here. I guess by 3,500 now would be the name.
Yeah, he's rebranded himself several times.
Hey, gang. Welcome back, man. I see that hoodie looking good.
You guys called me.
Oh, your audio.
Yeah, we can.
Your audio is delayed.
Yeah, it's like it might be a network issue.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better.
I can hear you now.
Yes.
Phones. You called me on a day. My hat's all crooked. On a day when no, it's my phone actually. You
okay.
My Gutter Cat hoodie, gang. I started joining late.
We were just butting it.
With something.
It was.
I've been.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Your audio is still delayed. I don't know if it's a network issue or not.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry, guys.
You're good. Okay. We kick him out. All right, we'll just put him down until he gets back. We'll see him on the bottom.
I completely agree with you, Spasta, on communication is key, and like communities do hold up projects. I know, like I noticed in the bull market, like everybody was buying everything, but there are some projects that I really feel like had a solid chance, but like straight up just like didn't respond to Twitter comments, didn't respond to their community, didn't care at all, like on like Discord like suggestion. And I get like it's your business, not their business, but like a like goes a long ways. An acknowledgement of existence of somebody who's holding your project goes a long ways, and now it's pretty frustrating. Just from my perspective as somebody who like views from the outside in, I do run a business in like I have a coffee shop, but not like that type of business. But I don't know. It's just poor communication leads to bad business in any field.
But I just don't understand. Like there are times it's like, okay, you're not communicating. That's one thing. If your community is extremely vocal, that like, hey, say something to us. Like I was a Doodles whale at one point. I owned like upwards of 10 Doodles. Like I was so bullish on the whole project and ecosystem. And then they just stopped tweeting. And it was just like, I know everyone's like, oh, whatever. They just stopped tweeting. Not a big deal. No, like they totally missed the fucking mark. Right. And people were just like, say anything, retweet us, respond to us. And it's just like, what are we even doing? It's like that was such a disappointment to me. And as much as I believe in that project and that IP long term, I think they've lost a big chunk of their active community as a result, and it sucks. And again, look, I think it's really difficult. Like I don't look at floor prices and say like the health of a project is determined by floor price. I think it's the health of the community and the activity within the community that will really kind of drive engagement long term. So
it doesn't help that they like kind of did that last cash grab, if you will, with the boxes, and then just went silent.
Still nothing on the boxes. They're just
still no
there.
reveal or anything like that. So like
Crazy.
that definitely didn't help their case at all. Because I mean, maybe there's obviously, like he showed pictures of him being in the hospital and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like people just put a lot of money into their ecosystem and then they just vanish. So it looks bad.
For all intents and purposes, it was a final cash grab because people saw the market changing. And I understand. And by the way, look, this is a similar thing with Frank, right? Frank D. Gods. It's just like if you're not ready, like if you're just selling because the market feels right, but you're not ready to reveal, it's like, you're you're selling people you're selling people fucking snake oil. There's nothing there. Until there is something there. It's like, if you want to tell us this is a financing vehicle for you and you're going to be releasing something in 6 months connected to this, manage those expectations beforehand. But no one wants to say that because no one's going to buy your shit if you say that.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I'll tell you, our last mint was our Chibi Friends drop. That was our companion drop. And I don't know if you guys know anything about that. I'll give you a little high level. We launched 10,000 Chibi Friends as companions to our original collection. If you owned the PFP, you essentially got to mint one for one. They started off as eggs, but they were evolutionary NFT. They evolved over stages, and they evolved by playing in our mini play to earn game that we built. Our technology team built a proprietary game that you perform in the game. You send your eggs on missions, and by gaining points, you have the ability to evolve your eggs from an egg to a baby to a fully grown pet. The higher you perform there, the more likely you are to unlock rare traits and things like that. We minted out on our mint day. Within 4 days of minting out, we released the game connected to it. I mean,
Heck
like,
yeah.
for me, it's always been like, if we set expectations and when we tell the community we're doing something, we have to deliver. And I can't tell you the pressure on us and our team to be able to deliver something like this in the time that we did. But like, I'm so proud of our team for that. And this
Nice.
is
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
This was a trailer video that we did for the Chibi Friends drop. This is kind of a little insight into some of the stuff that we're building for the Chibiverse, which is a working title of the future. The partnership that we're doing with Beyond. If you look at this, a big focus for us is digital identity and the ability to customize your NFTs and your PFPs. So there's a lot of breadcrumbs that were dropped in that video.
What's the IP rights for these things? Do your community have that?
Fully owned by the community. And that's what I was saying
Nice.
before, the 3D files that are owned by our community. They own those. They could do whatever they want with them. We've seen folks in our community create physical collectibles, create merchandise and gear. There's been a whole lot that's been generated out of our community from a commercialization standpoint.
Okay. 3500. How are you doing, man? That's your new name now. 3500. That's what we should be calling you.
35
Dude.
for you.
35 for me. Yeah, I think it might be his network. I'm not sure because it
His
goes
bars
in and
look normal. It says 10 out of 10 connection. Probably better
out.
than.
Yeah, it was low just now before.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. Maybe he needs to go back to SniperBot or HBizzle. I think it's the name.
3500 is it's his ape. It's his SniperBot ape.
Yeah.
And he got the 3500.eth and he built the entire set. He has the ape, M1 and M2 mutant, and the dog.
That's dedication.
Are you back? Are you there?
Say hello and goodbye at the same time.
Okay.
Apparently, my technical difficulties are very challenging. Matt, maybe we're just so early with the doodles that we just don't even know it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you
we
better
can
now.
hear you.
All right, listening along. I know there was some big update or there were Chibis and another group talking today. Were there any alpha given out here?
Sorry, you're still delayed on your voice.
Not yet. No, we was waiting for you to come through to drop the alpha for us.
I'm hearing goodbye. Apparently, I'm not technically equipped for this conversation.
You got a
Matt
banger
doing
for us before you leave? You got a banger?
Yeah, you
banger?
want to share anything with us?
We're all gonna make it.
Oh, come
No, some of us
on,
will.
bro.
Oh, some of us will.
Boo.
That's all I got. Thank you guys for letting me drop by. I'm gonna
Yeah,
keep
man. Sorry
listening.
about the connection issues. We'll have to get you on later.
We we have very kind of healthy debates. He's been a big WAGMI proponent for a long time, and I've just been like, dude, man. I'm like, we just like, he was sitting on, I mean, he was sitting on such an amazing, enormous collection at one point. Obviously everything's, turned a bit. He still has some really amazing NFTs, but, just like I've told people in my community, it's like, never put yourself in a position where you're overexposed. And luckily he's very successful in real life, but shit, man.
Well, you were talking about value propositions earlier, and you sound like a pretty logical person. And there's obviously two sides to this, but first thing that comes to my head is the apes. If you're comparing chibis, and it's like this makes sense because if you paid for this normally, it'd probably be a couple $100. So like the floor would make sense as a couple $100. But you look at apes, like I get the connections, I get the drops, I get the IP, and but still 65 Ethereum.
Not there.
Yeah, where's the value proposition?
If the value proposition is, you always value things on future cash flows, right? Apes are still being valued as if they're going to drop the next set of dogs, mutants, other side deeds on you over the next, year or so. And the market's just not there. I think the one thing that's changed in the market, we all saw this coming, is the supply, right? Eyeballs and attention have gone, elsewhere. I think the addressable market and the user base hasn't really grown much. If anything, we've seen so much ETH come out of the market through, drops and scams and, Aku money being locked in a contract that you have to say, like, it's been a zero-sum game or a negative-sum game because money's leaving the ecosystem. We've seen a redistribution of wealth continue to happen without new entrants into the space. And it's like, how are you going to attract new people, hundreds or thousands of new people who are willing to spend $100,000 on an ape? I just don't think you can anymore. So I find it really hard to justify the value of apes even at this level, because I just don't think that they're going to provide similar value to what you've seen over the last year, even a fraction of that. But who knows?
No, yeah, I respect it. I understand it. And just last night there was a hack for like another. It wasn't exponential, but I think it was like 6 mil, something like that.
In
The
ape?
Digidaiku?
No,
Oh no,
the Digidaiku fake mint. That was
bad.
off of an official Twitter account. Yeah, I don't remember the exact amount that was taken out, but yeah, it sucks, dude. All these scams, completely sucks out the market. And you're right. It's getting spread thin. I think at the end of the day, a lot of people said it, even outsiders, but like 98% of projects, maybe 99% are going to fail. Like I've been thinking that too. It's just getting spread too thin. So the cream will rise to the top.
I mean, look, I think 99% of startups fail, and those startups are led by people with experience, with educations, with real backing from traditional VCs. The number's probably going to be a lot higher in terms of, failure rates in this market as well. But that doesn't mean we can't have fun.
Yeah, have fun, man. And tell us why Chibi's is going to be in the 1%.
Yeah, I think like I was saying, like my vision has always been long-term viability. We've never focused on our floor price. Yeah, we've gotten our floor prices up to pretty high levels at some points. But I've always told even my community, like, you have the opportunity to sell and you feel overexposed, take profits along the way. But I believe that the IP that we've developed, the technology that we've developed, and the team that we've developed has the ability to go places. Like I said, I've been operating businesses for a long time. We just entered a partnership with Beyond. Beyond is one of the most talented studios that I've ever worked with. They're a gaming and virtual world studio based out of New Zealand. I reached out to them about a year ago after they had built all the Fluff Burrows. If you're familiar with the Fluff Burrows. They are one of the most talented groups that I've ever worked with. And, we were basically flirting and dating for like 6 months. They came to NFT NYC and, we spent 2 or 3 days with them. We had an immersive art exhibit at NFT NYC. And at the end, they're like, we're ready to go. Let's make it happen. And, we think what we're building is not just a metaverse, because I don't want to think, like when you think about metaverses, the term is just so played out. We want to build something that's a highly curated environment where people in the Web3 space and even the Web2 space could go. And this isn't just going to be for chibis. We're trying to open this up to all, collectors and all IPs. We want to be the leader in the digital identity space. So curation from a digital identity standpoint, the ability to kind of take the best of all of your NFTs and traits, kind of put those together and see your PFP come to life in 3D. That's something that we've been doing for chibis as a whole. We want it to spread to the broader ecosystem, and we think it's time people really understand what the metaverse is, or what virtual worlds and environments are going to look like. I think Meta is trying to figure that out too. I think you think about genies; they're probably the leader in the digital identity space right now. We think there's something to be said for NFT collectors wanting to kind of preserve the integrity of their current NFTs, of their current PFPs. So we're doing some really innovative things, and we have the right partner to help shepherd this.
Tell me a little bit more about this metaverse. Like, what's it gonna be like? Are these
Uh,
previews right here in that small clip, or like
that
what can we
that's
expect?
that's just them messing around. So we're announcing next week. We're going to be announcing the official partnership, what the partnership means. I just dropped a little alpha that the market hadn't heard before, so you heard it here first around the digital identity stuff. We're essentially building highly curated worlds for not just our community and our collectors, but the whole Web3 space. And you're just seeing kind of the first iteration of it with kind of chibis entering this world. What you're seeing right there is not the world. That's just them running around
Okay.
in a virtual environment.
Okay.
But they're we're gonna what we want to be known as is we want to be known as the entity, the project that kind of helps shepherd the Web3 community into the virtual world, right? We want to help them. We want to give them the tools and empower them to figure out how to take their assets, how to take their 3D, PFPs and avatars, and bring them into these digital environments. Because I think that's something that hasn't happened, right? You look at Decentraland, you look at Other Side, and while Other Side promised all of that, we haven't really seen a true product from them yet. I mean, we saw, that
Field test.
whatever that
Yeah.
demo was, we don't even know if that's really what that what Other Side is going to look like. But for us, it's not. We're not building I mean, we are building gamification properties in there, but we want people to find new mediums and new virtual worlds to interact, and not in the form that we've seen from a Decentraland or Another Side. But I don't want to drop too much alpha, but we are creating, again, the tools for people to be able to take their assets into these new virtual environments and figure out new ways for them to interact across those virtual environments.
Yeah, man, that's sick. Looks really nice too. Like
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
So are these wearables, or these are all part of the PFP itself?
Yeah, so what's really interesting is, like, so this is Chibi Galaxy, a traditional Chibi Galaxy. Everything you're seeing, from the mask to the to the suit to the Tron discs, are things that are going to hopefully be interoperable across PFPs. So you'll be able to take your Chibi jacket and put it on another avatar, or take your Bored Ape hat and put it on your Chibi avatar. So we want the traits to be interoperable across different projects and different characters.
Nice. What's your favorite trait?
Um, well, I love the Tron discs. If you go to actually my Twitter profile, you'll see
Uh,
I customized my own. It's Spasta. You may be able to find me in this feed, but I customized my own Chibi Galaxy.
I got it, Ken. I'll pull it up.
Really? Oh, you got it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty sick.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
I
the
like it a
full
lot.
Tron suit with
Ooh,
the VR goggles with the Tron discs.
Heck yeah,
nice.
man. That's sick.
But yeah, I mean, look, I like in our Chibi Apes collection, I like Naked Apes, which are just super clean. I mean, I just I our creator and my co-founder Fabs is just he's just such an unbelievable designer. And he just does such a great job with the artwork. I have to give him so much credit.
Yeah, the art definitely is cool. So how do we get involved with this new metaverse coming up? Like, what are the steps
So
we could take to get allowless and stuff?
yeah, so again, next week we're going to be announcing our partnership with Beyond and what it looks like. Over time we're going to start enlisting, other projects, other partners, to help kind of open the world to this metaverse. That's going to be happening over the next 3 to 6 months, and yeah, I think there's going to be real opportunity to engage other NFT communities in a pretty meaningful way. You just touched on our OG collection. These are
I
our Chibi
did, yeah, yeah.
Genesis. These are my favorite.
So, do you get before the announcement? Do you get a good benefit by holding a Galaxy or a OG right now?
I'm not gonna say anything now,
I'm
but
trying to get
obviously
him to say something.
we always build in benefits. So if you look
Mhm.
across our previous sales, owning a Chibi Genesis got you a whitelist for Chibi Apes. Owning a Chibi Genesis plus a Chibi Ape got you a free mint or a discounted mint for Chibi Galaxy. It also got you a Chibi Hollow, which at some point was up to like a 1 ETH for. So there's always been benefits of owning across generations, of course. And owning a Chibi, just getting you access into the Chibi ecosystem will also provide you benefits for the upcoming mints.
Hey, we're in the Rick and Morty meta right now, and this is like kind of Rick's hair right here, man.
I
Just needs like a lab coat.
love that one. I know that one really well.
Speaking of which, Art Gobbler pretty much took over this week. What are your thoughts about the project, if you have any? Are you holding or did you buy?
I didn't buy. I was thinking about playing it and trading around it because I missed Digidaikus. I guessed out on buying a couple of those on the floor, so I thought I was going to make a play on gobblers. I hate the way they came to market. Yeah, I hate it for so many reasons.
Really?
Yeah, the way they came to market through influencers, the way the influencers played it off like they were doing some funny copy pasta thing when in
Yeah, I saw
actuality
that.
that was, I mean, the whole thing was stupid. It's just like, all right, here's a new model. Take a well-known artist, pair them up with a well-known, VC, create the perception like there's a ton of money behind this, align with a bunch of influencers. Like, sure, maybe that's gonna be the model for the future, but like I think a lot of people are getting sold on something they don't really understand. I don't think people understand that this isn't going to be a managed and maintained project. It's going to be a self-contained art ecosystem, and I think if you look at the current health of the floor and the project itself, it's literally being traded from whale to whale, right? Everyone's already priced out of it for the most part, and it just crushes the integrity of the overall ecosystem.
Well to well
Um,
and single our new wallets.
what is
So in other
that?
words, I said well to well and new wallets. In other words, they're loading up wallets to create a false sense of sales volume. Like,
Look, I think I I I
Shots.
I I think people have figured out ways to game the system. I
yeah,
think people have figured out ways to create a certain perception around something that may not exist. And they know how to launch these projects. If you have enough money behind you, you could do anything. And some of these are the greatest scams that ever existed. It's like, and
Mm.
look, I'm not calling Paradigm a scam, but Paradigm has a playbook that they know works, right?
yeah.
How much of this project was then used to benefit the Blur platform because all the activity is now on the Blur platform? Like, who knows? I mean, the Illuminati is working their ways and they're doing a good job, but yeah, how many people are going to be left holding the bags on these gobblers when they're down to 1 ETH? I don't know.
Bro, yeah, I agree 1000%. And just to reference what you're talking about with Blur, I mentioned it before we brought you up. You might have heard it. Look at this crap. Hold on, I got the charts for you right here. This is Blur market
Woo.
activity, bro. Look before. All right, so the
Does it
highest
show how
day
much of
that
that is gobblers? I think 99% of
I'm
it is
sure there's a
gobblers.
way to break it down, but I think the highest
Yeah.
day ever before this week was 1,694 ETH. This week, yesterday alone, we had 13,476 Ethereum volume traded. Like, look, you think that's sustainable? Like, I mean, I like Blur. I think they like Blur, but like, yeah, with most of this probably is art gobblers. A lot of this is not even real trades or whales just kind of sending it back and forth. But I don't know, man. It's just Yeah, you're
Well,
right. There.
you say you don't know, but it's happening before our eyes, and no one seems to realize the community has gotten so down bad that we've just conceded and handed the rights to this democratized ecosystem back to like the Web 2 overlords. That's it. I mean,
It's
you know,
ironic,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, it's funny because we're all like,
it's
"Oh, Web3, we don't need Web2," and
It's
then
not
we run out of
ironic. I
money.
mean,
Ran out of money. Oh, thank you so much, Justin Roiland,
uh,
for coming to save us.
my man Juan just called it out. Like, you're gonna find me washed up on shore tomorrow because the Illuminati's gonna come get me.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
true.
I mean, look, I understand it, but at the same time, it's like you don't have to sell out and destroy the integrity of your ecosystem and your community just for the sake of raising capital to save your own asses. I mean, I look across a lot of these projects. I look at Doodles. I look at Yuga. You know, they were started by some really talented people. I think a lot of them are artists and developers. I think the community helped a lot. But when I look at these people, and I don't know them all so well, but I've listened to them talk, I don't think any of them are real operators. They don't know how to operate a business. And I think that's part of the problem. It's not just about operating a business, it's about operating a community and understanding your consumers. And I just think you have a lot of people in kind of like mismanaged roles and positions who, you know, haven't been willing to kind of hand over the reins to someone else who knows what they're doing. So,
Are you saying
well,
that the Hugo founders who have little business experience don't know how to run a $1 billion valuation company?
I mean, they literally handed the reins to their high school
I don't.
friend, who I don't believe she has any an experience with businesses either. And it's not a knock on them. They've created something great, but
Sure.
like, how much of that was derived by the actual community base that helped
Mhm.
really build the infrastructure for that ecosystem? So, you know, I think this is a huge social experiment. It's become a very expensive and costly experiment to some, but like I said, I think the impact of this on the future of the overall space and even traditional industries is going to be so great that this will be a blip on the radar, and we'll look back and look at all these people as like the pioneers of, you know, one of the
Sure.
greatest technologies that may have ever been created. So
Yeah, and I, at the end of the day, some people in the experience have been successful. While like I disagree with a lot of things that happen. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is a good example of just like a tech guy
call him
that's now running that
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg that's now running Facebook. So I think a lot of people that are running these projects have never seen the money that they've seen before. Yet now they're in charge of a multi-million-dollar project or even $1 billion evaluation. Like
sure.
you just kind of got handed that. Now it's like, are they going to succeed? Yeah, there's that possibility, but a lot probably will not.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't mean to come on here and sound like a wet blanket, but
No, you're
I just
good, man. You're
look.
good.
I think it's the overall state of the market. I think people need to be aware. I think people just need to be realistic and manage their own expectations around what they're up against. I mean, if you think about it, if you just took the perception of Twitter right now, who's running the overall NFT ecosystem, you think it's a bunch of idiot influencers, right? Most of them aren't even real collectors. I mean, if you look at right now on Twitter, who's running the country or running politics, it feels like Elon Musk. So it's like, you know, Twitter's a dangerous place.
Do you think
But
Elon's bullish for NFTs?
Yes.
I think Elon in general is bullish for blockchain. I think he's a free thinker. I think he's a good ambassador and advocate for a lot of the reasons why we joined the space is for autonomy and democratized ownership and things like that. I think he's pushing towards that. So yeah, I do think he's good.
Cool, man. Yeah, it's going to change a lot. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. I am a little bit concerned, which I haven't really done a lot of digging in this, but if the whole like verification thing changes, and then I have like a Chibi Labs that's verified, but they're just verified because they paid for it, that follows me. I am a little bit concerned about that aspect, but I have heard that there's going to be like different brackets of verification. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
and
It's going to be interesting.
as there should be. I think they'll figure it out. For anyone who
Sure.
just thinks like, oh, you could pay $8 and you can become verified, I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a smarter process around it, because the current process, who knows how thoughtful it really is or has been. It seems a little ridiculous how they currently run their verified.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also they're going to be adding a subheading to notable names. So a politician will have a subheading, like a little tag under it saying politician,
Yeah.
not just with the check mark.
All right, we got a couple of minutes left. You just want to you've already shared a lot of Chibi Alpha for us today. If there's anything else you want to talk about for the project, platform's yours. And I don't know if Ken has any more direct questions.
Yeah, look, I think when it comes to when it comes to maintaining a successful project, again, I have some unique partnerships and relationships that have allowed us to do certain things. We launched a partnership with Verizon, which was a pretty big deal for the
Yeah,
space.
dude, it's huge.
I think it's one of the bigger partners that's corporate brands that have entered the space. Partnerships like Jadu Hologram has been an amazing partner for us. We even did a partnership with Arizona Iced Tea for a metaverse launch. I think people, I think projects especially don't realize the power of their brand and of their community. And I think there are a lot of folks in the kind of Web2 space who are looking to cross over. You just have to be present and you have to put yourself out there. But I think, in terms of commercializing the current landscape, you're going to have to, learn to align yourself with, real people, real brands outside of this current space, because the space is so small, it's really a bubble. And just keep grinding. Make sure you're present at conferences and you're going to a lot of the events and stuff, and stick with it. That's all I'll say, because I saw people in 2017 who were guys who had 5,000 followers, and they're now leading some of the largest Web3 companies that exist with millions of followers and things like that. So I think sticking with it is really important. I hope to see this community prevail, and I hope to see people continue to elevate kind of through the ranks. So
Me too, man.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Sposter, for coming and joining us today, man. Really appreciate your words of wisdom right there you just gave us, man.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Appreciate
And
you
we'll
guys.
be
Thank you for having me.
yes, we'll be looking out for this mint. This announcement next week, right? That you're gonna announce the details for this upcoming. I can't wait for that. So that's pretty much it for me. If you're watching this, please make sure to visit ninjalerts.com/giveaway for your chance to win a 6-month subscription to Ninja Alerts. It's a web app. You get a notification whenever supposed to buys mints or sells anything.
Yeah, man. I
You
need
can
to
get a
follow that. I
ping
don't think I
right to
follow
your
his
phone.
wallet. I don't think I
I
follow
don't
his
either.
wallet. I
We
need
got
to.
to.
I haven't been active, but I'll tell you, Ninja Alerts has changed my life. First of all, it's the only push notification that I'll ever get on my phone that shows me when I sell an NFT. So I follow my own wallets, and I'll be sitting there. I'll get a push notification. I'll be like, "Yes, I sold that."
Heck yeah, dude. That's funny. I never even
and I-
thought about that. That's hilarious.
yeah, hell yeah, it's huge for that. And also, it gives me the opportunity to shame my friends whenever they buy or sell something. So
I
it's
he wasn't able to join us today, but I was going to ask him. So I do follow 3500's wallet, and I saw him buying some of those proof of stakes this week. The Ethereum. It's a cool concept. Basically, like they took a bunch of things on EtherScan that Ethereum has done, like gas spent and stuff like that, and they make it into art. So it was pretty cool. But I saw 3500.
interesting.
I saw 3500 bought a few, and I was like, oh, I
He
wonder.
doesn't tell me about everything he degens into. I know he's
You
been
gotta follow
buying
his
some of those
wallet, man. Oh,
art
there he
plant.
is. Pops at the very
Oh,
end.
I'm back.
I popped it.
Yeah, so I had to add this. So, like, here's my strategy with alert thing. And when the DJ Daikus were like popping in hot, I added top 30 holders of the Digi Daikus to the Ninja Alerts. Well, 15, like my own little code. Like, they were the first person on Digis or whatever. I use it that way. In fact,
smart.
my phone is blowing up all the time. So I cover all my friends. I know when Sposter does a trade before he knows he does. Ninja Alert clears before his thing does an open state. I'll be sitting next to my boy D over the cubicle, and I'll be like, "Yo, what you doing? I see it." In fact, I have to be careful now because I'm on him, but I see it clear before they do. So I track all my friends. People I don't know. Like I track G Money. What's this art blocks exploration there? I track, just like normal big influencers, and then if it's hot, like almost this art gobblers. Great strategy would be go find the top 50 gobblers, holders, right? And then throw all those wallets and just see the market, because these are the whales that are like, my thought process were, if they were you, they're smart enough to know what the next thing is. So that's
He
my
would
alpha. That's
never
my big
become NFT sniper bot without Ninjalerts.
Yeah.
I've had it to give it to
Nice.
Spasta. This is where it all comes back to help
he
you
gifted me
guys.
this like about a year ago.
And I've been raving about it to people. I bought one for one of our team members. Had him do the Digi Daiku thing. So anyway, back to your question about proof of Ethereum. Not follow my wallet and do anything I do. It's all just activity.
You bought a good dip though.
Roulette table, guys.
You bought a good
I'm
dip.
at the
It
roulette
literally
table.
it went from like 0.09 to like 0.05, and it stayed at 0.05 for like 5 minutes. And you bought that dip. I saw that because I tried to buy it, but I wasn't fast enough. And then it went back up to 0.09 like after 5 minutes. I'm not sure if you exited, but it would have been a great exit if you did.
I tried to get out at 12.5, but 3, and I would have got out. But whatever. I don't know. Now, you know what? We joke in my office. I'm like, 0.01, or the dreaded under 0.01, and then it's just death.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm out.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining today.
That was
Catch
a
us
great
Monday,
cameo.
1 p.m. Eastern time for all these shows. CEOs like Spasta, CEOs like Mitch we had on yesterday with MVAHQ. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And also, if you missed this, if you're in Chibi Labs, or if you missed this, you're in Ninjalerts. It's going to be on Twitter and YouTube. The full length video. Be sure to check that out. All that being said, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Spasta, for your time. See you guys next time. Peace out.
Thank you for having